Josh Allen isn't just leading the Buffalo Bills. He's forcing this new defense to evolve every single day. And if Jim Leonard gets this unit right, Buffalo could become the team nobody wants to face.
I probably would do my tier, though, only looking at Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen. I would not include other guys up there on that upper echelon. I think those two guys are so far and away, and I know Patrick Mahomes has a lot of work to do to recover back from the injuries that he sustained last year. But I think both of those guys, and especially look at the talent that is surrounding, I guess you could say this to a degree with Lamar Jackson as well, but the talent that was surrounding a guy like Josh Allen last year at the receiver position and what he could do with that offense. I mean, he was having to carry everything. I just think he and Patrick Mahomes, especially with the way that they can create when the play breaks down, as well as create within the structure of the offense, those two guys stand alone. I would probably move Burrow and Lamar and Stafford on that second tier. For me, maybe it's a 1B tier, and 1A is Mahomes and Josh Allen. But I don't disagree with the guys that you have there at the top at your elite class within the NFL. I think that you've got on the next tier down, I think Love, Herbert, and Purdy are guys that I feel more strongly about. I guess I have to ask you this question. During the regular season against that cupcake schedule, 0 games in 17, negative 0.05 EPA per attempt or worse. And the other thing that concerns me that I'm really excited to see week 1, J-Mac, when they go take on the Seattle Seahawks on Wednesday to start the season, is that teams last year started to play a lot more cover 6 against Drake May, and May massively struggled against cover 6. And so once the Buffalo Bills introduced that in week 15, other teams started to copycat that. The Baltimore Ravens did. And then we saw the teams in the playoffs play cover 6 at double to triple the rates that they were playing cover 6 throughout the rest of the season. And it slowed down Drake May. He held onto the ball longer. It massively impacted that offense. That is a key underrated thing that they are going to have to work on this offseason. Josh McDaniels and Drake May is how are they going to answer cover 6, because they're going to see it a ton week 1, because in the Super Bowl, the Seattle Seahawks played it on 51% of Drake May's dropbacks, way higher than the 25% rate that they nearly led the NFL in using it during the regular season.
Now, for his first year as DC.
That's the exciting part of the offseason. I had a vision for what I want it to be, and it might not totally get there in year 1, right? We have to be real as far as who we have, what their skill sets are, and I have to be flexible as well as them, right? And that's where that overload philosophy was. Let's push a lot of stuff at them and really stress them out mentally and schematically what we think we're going to be able to do, and then just start to dial it in as we get closer to week 1.
Mina, what's going to be the most important thing for Leonard to fix in this Bills defense?
Well, first, it's cool to hear him talk about thinking about defense in terms of stressing out the offense, because when you watch his defenses going back to college, and then obviously he was part of that Broncos defense, I do think
we literally have the same points all the time.
I do think that is what he does, right? They throw so much at you in terms of disguise on the back end, up front. Yes, it's a switch to a 3-4, but it's going to be very multiple. I think the way that he gets to his pressures is going to be more simulated. Buffalo did this a decent amount, but there's going to be simulated pressures. There's going to be a lot of movement up front. So from a pressure perspective, I love it. Where I get a little concerned, and this is less about Jim Leonard and more about how bad they were last year at this particular thing, the run defense was abysmal last season. On first and second down, they averaged over 5 yards per carry given up. Yeah. Only teams worse were the Giants and the Bengals. Never a sentence you want to be in. And also in the open field, so many missed tackles.
Missed tackles, yeah.
So for Leonard, I think that's part of the challenge here. Yes, that complexity I think is going to help them in pass defense, but how can you improve the run defense? It's 3-4. They need a true nose. I think some of the personnel might not quite be there just yet.
Do you think they go schematically complete 180 to really what they were under Sean? Because I agree, Jim Leonard played under Rex Ryan. If you ask anybody in football, you say the words Rex Ryan, here comes pressure and here comes man. Yeah. Denver, Vance Joseph, pressure, man. It's not really who Buffalo, they sprinkled it, they dabbled it a little bit. It's not really who Buffalo was defensively under Sean McDermott and Bobby Babich. So you look at that, as a player, you're going, here comes pressure. Yeah. And then as a coach, you're like, here comes pressure. Look at the bottom of the screen, 27th in the last 3 seasons. Now, they ticked it up a little bit over the last year, but I'd just be interested to see who, who they actually become scheme-wise.
The defensive linemen in Buffalo are so different from the ones in Denver, for example, in terms of like Denver, that was speed, right, at edge.
Long, athletic.
Greg Rousseau, even TJ Parker, they drafted this year. Power is more like those two I think are decent against the run. But I feel like he's going to have to make some adjustments. The way he defends the run is with aggression. You're seeing a lot of run stunts, slants, adding guys to the box, right? So he's going to have to figure out some answers. I mean, he's a brilliant mind, so well regarded around the league. This hire received, I think, more accolades than almost any this offseason, but they might still be up against it.
I think it's a welcome change, too. I do think there was a little bit of like, we're in zone all the time. We're in zone all the time. We're in zone all the time. We got to get aggressive with our quarterback.
The last time we spoke to you was before free agency, before the draft. What are your impressions of what your personnel looks like now after you have, quite a few new additions on that side of the ball?
Yeah, a lot of new additions. We're excited about where we're at from a personnel standpoint. Still things we got to work through, and that's where, again, OTAs are huge, just to see how comfortable guys are and really what this thing needs to be, come season, right? And there will be adjustments in training camp with the personnel and how they're being used in schematically, but excited for the beginning part of this and knowing that it's still early in the process.
How important was it to bring in Chubb because he has played this position in an odd man front defense before, whereas most of the guys on this team really hadn't done that. Hoyt's done it a little bit, but how important was bringing Chubb in just for that reason alone, maybe?
Yeah, we thought it was huge. The experience, I mean, he was drafted as a first rounder for this defense, right? So, and he's played in very similar defenses the majority of his career, even at Miami. So excited to have him for the player that he is, right? The experience, the versatility he has, and the leadership. I mean, he knocked it out of the park when you started talking to him in free agency, just what he was going to be able to provide the team, the defense. He's one of those personalities that can reach to the other side of the ball, right? There's a lot of times you have great leaders within your room or within a defense or an offense, and then every once in a while you get special guys that can kind of hit anybody on the team and really be that leader. And he's been that. He takes a lot of pride in it. So we're excited kind of in all facets for what he can bring to this team.
That it was hurt a lot of last season, but he's got a body of work in the league. I'm sure you've watched plenty of them to this point now. How do you envision him fitting into what you're going to be asking him to do?
I think Ed's going to be really disruptive in this defense. The base defense being more different for him than what it's been in the past, and in all reality, a little bit more freedom than he's had in the past. The sub package things like a little bit more familiar to what they've done here from a front structure. So I think he's starting to see kind of where he fits and how he's going to fit and how we're going to be able to utilize him and create some one-on-ones and isolate some guards, which all defensive linemen get excited about.
We hear so much about C.J. Gardner-Johnson's personality and the way that's been a plus at his previous stops. Even in this setting, shorts, T-shirts, all that, how have you seen his personality resonate on the practice field?
He's loud. He's loud. He brings energy. He loves football, right? The day-to-day, the workouts, the meetings. He's a guy who loves being in the building. He's trying to be a leader, man. He really wants to be that, and it's exciting being able to work with guys that really want to be in front of the room and talk and hold people accountable, right? I think there's a downside sometimes, right, where people are a little bit edgy when they're competitive like that, and as a team you have to understand who you have and the roles that they need to be in. And but we're excited about just his passion and energy for the game and what he brings into the building every day.
What have been your impressions of Terrell Bernard at linebacker?
He's a pro. Obviously, he coming off an injury is a little bit limited what he's doing on the field right now, but everything in the classroom, the meetings, the communication, the focus level that he has, it's really impressive to see every day. And as he continues to get healthier, we know what he is on the field, right? So it's not a rush. He's a person that what he can do. And again, half of his is the leadership, the intangibles as far as communication on the field, in between series. He kills that. So we're being smart with the ankle, and he'll be on the field a lot more as the OTAs continue to progress, and full go come camp is what we would expect.
Go ahead, Josh.
Yeah, you've prepped to go against Josh Allen in the past. What's it been like being behind the doors and seeing him kind of do his work?
It's awesome just to see the personality and, again, the kind of playfulness that he brings it, man. It's a grind. There's a lot of time and a lot of investment, but he obviously has a lot of fun. So he keeps it loose and then gets inside the white lines and ultra competitive. And it's different right now when you can't play live football and all that, but just to see the energy that he brings the team and the leadership the offense has, and in kind of every series he hits the field, you definitely feel it and you notice it when he breaks the huddle. So going against that every day is going to be a blessing for this defense. You know, it doesn't get much more challenging than what these guys can provide us in the run game and the play action, all that type of stuff with Josh.
Going back to linebacker, Dorian Williams is a guy that's started games in this league, but most of the time it's been because of an injury to someone ahead of him on the depth chart. It seems like he's in a position where he's going to have an opportunity here to go out and earn a starting job for you. What would you like to see from Dorian, and what have your observations of him been, to this point in his career?
Yeah, first impression's been great. Soaks it all in, right? Soaks it all in. I think he's a guy that, again, fresh start, new defense, putting him some different positions to show his versatility and his leadership more than anything, being that every down backer for us. So excited about his start and just want to continue to grow, right? My goal in the offseason was really to overload, right? Throw as many things at him as possible, make him uncomfortable, and force communication. And again, just trying to find all the holes where, like, this makes sense. And all right, this 6-week break or whatever the break is before training camp is, this is where these guys really need to focus to take the next step. So we're comfortable. A number of players in his shoes, Dorian is a guy that he's going to have an opportunity to have a huge impact in this defense. And it's kind of how comfortable can they get? Like, how fast can they get comfortable to where they're just flying around and playing with violence, playing with physicality, and that's the big test from now until training camp for guys like him.
Saw plenty of.
It's familiar, right? Just knowing the culture of the building, right? I think the Bills have always been a place that have done it a little bit differently, right? It's unique. You're not in Miami, you're not in LA, right? Like, it feels like the town's team, right? Like, everyone's highly invested. You walk around the building and there's people that, like, they're not going anywhere. They don't want to leave, right? It's truly what is best for the organization, and how are we representing the city of Buffalo and Western New York? Like, that's a huge piece to what being a Bill is. So that's exciting to come back and feel that familiarity, right? There's a lot of new faces and a lot of new culture of winning, right? When Josh got here. So it's exciting to see both sides, right? The new and still a little bit of stuff that's old.
In terms of personnel, with players from being brought in for a different scheme and now having you here, how do you kind of blend what you want to do with some of the skill sets of players that have been here before? And what does that process look like for you?
That's the exciting part of the offseason. Like, I had a vision for what I want it to be, and it might not totally get there in year one, right? We have to be real as far as who we have, what their skill sets are, and I have to be flexible as well as them, right? And that's where that overload philosophy was. Like, let's push a lot of stuff at them and really stress them out mentally and schematically what we think we're going to be able to do, and then just start to dial it in as we get closer to week one. So I think it works. You're asking your players to do that and have an open mind and try some different things. And myself as a coach, I have a vision of what I think it's going to be, and now that's where the OTAs and once we get into training camp, it's really dialing it into what it's going to become. And what it looks like week one might not be what it looks like in week 10, and I think that's going to be a good thing.
Yo, mic check 1 to 2, -1, -2. Game over for this video, folks. Smash that like button, drop a comment, and subscribe to stay in the huddle for more. This is NFL Madness, bringing the heat and signing out.